have had more Amos Elons in the Israeli media if even Amos Elon himself wouldn't have lost hope and go for exile. The brutal occupation wouldn't last for 42 years. No way. I truly believe that if the Israeli media wouldn't have collaborated with the occupation for so many years, if voices like Amos' voice wouldn't have been so rare in the Israeli media, Israelis wouldn't have felt so comfortable with the occupation. Israelis wouldn't have felt so good about themselves, living with this brutal reality in their dark backyard and feeling so good about themselves. We lack people like Amos to show us the backyard of our lives. But Amos, for his own reasons, decided that there is no hope. He raised his hands and went for exile to a beautiful place where you can be easily depressed. I think also Israel is a beautiful place where you can easily be depressed, if I may say so. I'm a very good example of someone who is deeply depressed and still thinks it's a beautiful place. When Amos died and I was asked to speak, to say some words about him in a really very special event in Jerusalem, I decided not to look at the entire lifetime project of Amos, but just to go to the archive of Haaretz and to look what Amos wrote in the first year of occupation, 67, 68, when we were all, but all of us, part of this national religious orgy. Me, then as a 14-year-old child, good boy Tel Aviv, going first time with my parents' car to Hebron and Bethlehem and Nablus and East Jerusalem, not even seeing one Palestinian. They were non-existent in our eyes, and really feeling that we liberated the territories. In those times when this orgy took place, and the entire Israeli media took part of this orgy, Sharm el-Sheikh, we came back to you, and Nasser is waiting for Rabin, and the Temple Mountain is in our hands. In those times of orgy, Amos Elon was almost the only alternative voice. And when I read what Amos Elon wrote in those days, and I'm speaking June the 18th, June the 20th, June the 23rd, really the very, very first days, it's really incredible to see someone who saw the light or the darkness, if I may say so much time before us. He was almost the first one to go to the refugee camps, when we were all going to the Wailing Wall and to the Me'arat HaMachpelah, to the cave in Hebron, and to the Rachel tomb, being sure that we liberated those places. When the entire Israeli media went to all those places, he didn't participate. He went to the refugee camp of Akbar Jaber in Jericho, and he was maybe the first journalist to go to the refugee camps in Gaza. And then he wrote, and let me translate it in a very unprofessional way. He wrote about the refugees, and I'm speaking about the June 18th, he wrote, "We have a moral duty to do something about their future. Because on the back of those people, the independence of Israel was plowed. Those people paid in their body, in their property, and in their future for pogroms in Ukraine and gas chambers in Europe. we owe a big debt to those miserables, even if they misled themselves, even if they were misled by their leaders. They are the victims of our independence. So let us demonstrate generosity of a clever winner. To use those words in June 18th was nothing but prophecy. To speak about the danger of Viet Cong, and he wrote it a few days later, a danger of a Viet Cong in the occupied territories was nothing but prophecy. To go and to see the refugees and to understand that we have a moral debt to those people was nothing but prophecy. As I think that the Israelis are not monsters, they are people with values. As I know the Israelis, most of them really were brought up on universal values, on morality. If there is an earthquake in Mexico or floods in Turkey, Israelis are always the first one to be there. They would even help an old lady to cross the road even if she doesn't wish to do so. People with values. But those people, when it comes to the Israeli occupation, are all of a sudden different people, different rules of the game, different morality, different values. This is very much so thanks to the Israeli media, to the Israeli press, to Israeli journalists who for 42 years taught the Israelis that human values is one thing and the Palestinians, that's something else. They are not exactly human beings like us, and therefore there are no human doubts about how to deal with them. You can be very human and still have the occupation. You can be the only democracy in the Middle East and still have this brutal regime in your backyard. Dehumanization and demonization of the Palestinians made by the Israeli media, a very free media, I must say a very professional one. If there is censorship, it's only self-censorship, which is much worse than censorship which is forced on us, because then there is no resistance. In this reality, in which the Israeli media is brainwashing the Israelis for so many years, I can tell you the voice of Amos Elon could have made a change, a voice of few or more Amos Elons could have made a revolution. When I called him on this evening after Barack Obama was elected, and when he told me that he's too tired, and I may add, too desperated, to write about the victory of Obama, I think I know why Amos Elon was desperated. I think I know why was he so tired. I may even say, I think I know why he raised his hands and went for exile. But we in Israel lack so much voices like Amos Elon. Thank you.